Because we know it used to happen back in the day with Turbo and blah, blah,
that's
blah.
That's the thing, though. I mean, the revisions to, buff or nerf characters. I mean, I see the concept. I understand they want to eventually make it fair. But one thing I don't like is how we're sort of used as lab rats to test the product for them, tell them what's bad about it before they then change it. I don't like that. It really makes it difficult to have confidence in what they're doing as a player. To have confidence that they actually know what they're doing, because they have these buffs and nerfs that in some cases don't make, I mean, from a player perspective, don't make sense. They're not like put in there for the direction of making the game fully balanced, and that's quite problematic. But the thing is, I like, they're trying, they're making effort, they're doing fan service, they're doing what they can for us, and I appreciate that.
But thinking about that, do you think that the community has, as you were saying, do you think that some of them have preferred to, like for example, they prefer Street Fighter Vanilla as opposed to the arcade?
Oh, definitely. You're going to have players that prefer a certain version because their character was better, predominantly. That's going to be the main cause. The game had a better balance in their opinion. So
is that a good thing for the community or not?
Balance is always a good thing to have, but
and the diversity. I mean the division.
I feel like they're just, I don't know, they're just it's sort of dragging on a bit, this search for the perfect Street Fighter is getting on. I mean, it's 3 versions now. You've had SF4 Super, now AE, and people are still not happy. And it's going to come to a point where there's going to be a decent amount of balance, but at the end of the day, they're going to have to accept that they can't make everyone happy. You're never going to please everyone.
And then they'll just chuck out Street Fighter 5 and start all over again.
But yeah, I don't know if it's a good idea to always keep rebalancing a game. I mean, no, I don't think that's a good idea generally, but I don't know. It's hard to say really, because if you don't ever balance the game, then whatever's broken you have to live with. Infinites all over the place, or I don't know. You have matchups that are 9-1 or unwinnable. You have to live with that. But then if you keep having these repatches and stuff, then it's almost like you can't really. Then it's just like, well, you have to keep either changing character or living with what you can or can't do in what version and stuff like that. So a lot of power is taken away from you as a player because you're just bound by the rules the game give you.
So do you think there's more room for other games?
For me as a player or for the community?
For the community.
Yeah, there's always room for more games for the community. There's a lot of target demographic yet to be reached. So yeah, there's definitely room.
Now, actually, that's a good point. Now, as I was saying, I'm looking around now, and I'm still seeing people of our generation. What do you think it's going to take to bring in the younger crowd?
We have to bring in something that's appealing for them, really. Something that relates to what they understand and enjoy, but it's different, and that's how it works.
Do you think that applies to Marvel vs. Capcom?
Yeah, possibly.
What about BlazBlue? Did you see lots of kids playing that?
I think that's a bit too far out for some people. It's a good game, but I just think that it doesn't have the appeal to get the audience you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Now, there's a couple more other games on the horizon. Have you heard of Skullgirls?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Too far out.
Too far out as well?
Blood start. That's all that is. It's really difficult to communicate, and unless you get it on a wide scale of acceptance generally, it's not going to take off.
Okay. And there's another game that's just about out in America today. Don't know if you heard of it before. It's called The King of Fighters 13.
Oh, yes. 13, the new one. Yeah, I'm personally quite excited about that game. I think that it has a lot of modern content that is going to be applicable in today's community.
Okay. Well, let's not beat around the bush. You actually had an exclusive chance to play with the game.
Oh, yes.
Thanks to Rising Star Games, of course, and SNKP for helping us out with that.
No problem.
What were your first impressions?
I noticed that, as it's been a big break for me from King of Fighters, from serious King of Fighters play, it was refreshing to get back onto the familiar names and characters I recognize, and into the move lists that they all have, and supers, and then sort of delve a bit deeper and go into the new modes and all the new moves that they have. And I'm very pleased with the game because they've actually tried to make it cater for today's market. They haven't forced everyone to go with what they like, which is what the problem's been with a lot of the previous iterations. So I'm glad to see that they're really going with a trend that can be sort of communicated to today's market. And for those reasons, I'm quite positive about the effect the game's going to have when it's released.
Okay, so in terms of accessibility, well, of course Street Fighter being at the lowest level, where do you think that kind of comes in compared to the other games?
I think with King of Fighters, as it's a 3D game, as it's a 3 versus 3 game, so we're not talking about Tekken, as it's a 3 versus 3 game, you know, the team-based element, I think people have been slowly sort of brought into that from Marvel, so that's that element out of the way. But Marvel is kind of wackier in a sense in comparison. You know, KOF's a lot more tidy, you know, a lot tidier than Marvel is in the for the team elements. So that won't be too easy to swallow, too difficult to swallow. And you know, because that won't be too difficult to swallow, I think that the only other things is just getting used to the amount of moves each character has and how they're applied. But you know, there's a tutorial for things like that, and any person who's got experience with fighting games understands about gauges and supers, and if it's a Street Fighter then ultras and stuff like that. And more importantly, that you know, you can use for like EX moves, for example, and all those things are very understood in today's community. So there isn't that much that won't be understood for a regular fighting game player. The only thing that causes room for concern is just getting the grasp of the differences in how you play the game, because visually it might just look the same as any other game in terms of that it's a one-on-one beat 'em up, you know, a one-on-one fighting game where you have to use special moves to beat your opponent, but it's not like it is like that at all, because you know, the jump factors are different and how special moves are applied are quite different as well, and the counter elements are different too. So I'm hoping that these elements here will be the spice of the game. Those differences there will give it the edge in terms of it will show players that it's not the same as Street Fighter. There's value to playing this game over other games, you know, and I'm hoping that it can be another top game to be played alongside all the other good fighting games right now.
What did you like about the game?
Personally, I really like the new elements of the supers into special. I can't remember what they're called now. The like supers into the supers kind of thing.
Okay.
The Neo Max specials, I think.
Oh right,
Neo Maxes, So supers into Neo Max. I really like that factor because it now brings a kind of comeback element into play, and but it's not a ridiculous comeback element like just your regular moves take loads of energy. It's like there's actually, you have to actually get a hit on, you actually get the opponent into a move or into a combo that allows you to do that, and you have to have the meter for it as well, so it's all about management too. You can't just do it any time. So I think those things are going to make for exciting gameplay when it comes to the closing stages of matches.
Yes, that's been tweaked a couple of times, I tell you.
So but that's what I'm saying, it's still there, but it's not broken. So you're not going to get like this one character just beating all three characters with this one thing.
So if a Street Fighter player came up to you and asked you what did you like think about King of Fighters, did you say it's a more difficult or complex game?
It's hard to say that it's more difficult. I mean, yeah, there's more. I feel that there's more in it. It's more technical. There's more involved. But with that said, it's a lot easier to deal with than you would think. With so much on your plate, you would think, oh, how am I gonna? But it all just falls together because it becomes obvious later on what you need. You know, it just comes down to sort of having common sense, really. I mean, as long as you have common sense, you can play King of Fighters.
Oh dear, that cuts out about
rules out of bed.
Sorry guys, yes, this game is too much for you. But yeah,
it's the same with a lot of fighting games. As long as you can understand, you know what A and B and C is, you can play the game. I mean, really.
I think there always now. Funnily enough, I remember there some people, and I think this is probably my fault. I once said, Street Fighters at the low level, it's very accessible, and I think at the top is BlazBlue, as they call it, BlazBlue in Japan, and KOF's in the middle. And funnily enough, a lot of people have started to repeat that. But I was talking to the BlazBlue community, and they were like, "No, man. KOF is more difficult, it's more complex than BlazBlue. BlazBlue's easy now. Guilty Gear was complicated, but BlazBlue's been dumbed down. Now 13 has also, I hate to say the word dumbed down, but it's been a lot more simplified. But I think, if you think about the systems that we have, and as you said, how many jumps have we got?
Yeah, exactly.
We've got loads of jumps. It is quite complicated, but what do you think about the level of satisfaction that you get from like KOF?
getting to grips with it isn't monotonous. It's actually fun, and that's the difference. Sometimes when you're getting used to a system, it's boring. It's like, oh man, you're sort of grinding through tutorials and stuff, and it's boring. But I think King of Fighters, because of the vast amount of characters and the speed of the gameplay, it's actually enjoyable. It's really fun getting into it.
Absolutely. I think KOF is very. It is a little bit of hard work at the beginning, but there's definitely a sense of a sense of achievement when you actually get something going. So when you win a battle, you actually, I did actually win a battle.